The midday sun beat down on the bustling marketplace. Aisha, quick-witted and agile, weaved through the throngs of people. Her brother Samir trailed behind, his eyes wide with wonder at the sights and smells. They were on a mission, searching for a rare spice for their ailing grandmother.
Look.
Aisha stopped abruptly, her hand darting out to grab Samir's arm. Her eyes were fixed on a shadowy figure huddled over a stall across the way. The figure was cloaked, even in the heat, their face hidden in the shadows. Something about the way they moved sent shivers down Aisha's spine. As they watched, the figure made a purchase, a small, ornately carved box changing hands. Curious, Aisha steered Samir toward the stall, hoping to catch a glimpse of the mysterious stranger. But as they drew closer, the figure vanished into the crowd. Aisha scanned the bustling marketplace, but the stranger had disappeared. Disappointment tugged at her, but the encounter left a prickle of unease in its wake. Back home, Aisha couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The image of the cloaked figure lingered in her mind. She found Samir in the courtyard, his gaze fixed on a small, ornately carved box. The very same one the stranger had purchased.
Where did you get that?
Aisha exclaimed, her voice sharp with alarm. Samir jumped, startled.
I found it while returning from the market.
Intrigued, they decided to open it. A plume of violet smoke erupted from the box, swirling and solidifying into the form of a majestic genie. He had piercing blue eyes and an air of both power and danger. Fear battled with awe as they stared at the genie.
Greetings. I am Jazeera. You have freed me, and in return, I shall grant you 3 wishes. But choose wisely. For every wish, there is a price.
Aisha and Samir exchanged a nervous glance. The genie, Jazeera, waited patiently, his expression unreadable.
I wish for a mountain of gold.
Jazeera chuckled, a sound like stones tumbling down a well.
So be it.
He intoned, snapping his fingers. Instantly, their small courtyard was filled with gold coins, burying their home. Panic seized them. Samir's wish, driven by naive greed, had backfired terribly. Aisha knew they had to be careful. Their next wish had to rectify this disaster.
I wish for everything to return to how it was.
Aisha declared, her voice trembling slightly. The genie nodded, a flicker of amusement in his eyes. The gold vanished as quickly as it had appeared, leaving their home just as it had been. They had one wish left. Jazeera leaned forward, his blue eyes piercing.
Choose wisely. Your final wish will determine your destiny. Solve my riddle, and you shall have your heart's desire. Fail, and face the consequences.
The genie's riddle echoed in their ears. I am the beginning of the end, and the end of time and space. I am essential to creation, and I surround every place. What am I? The words hung in the air, heavy with hidden meaning. Days turned into weeks as they struggled to unravel the riddle. Aisha pored over ancient texts while Samir sought answers in the whispers of the wind. They ventured into the bustling marketplace, seeking clues from wizened merchants and wandering storytellers. One evening, a traveling merchant with eyes as old as time offered a possible answer.
The letter E.
It fit, satisfying the riddle's every twist and turn. But as Aisha looked at the merchant's knowing smile, a cold feeling settled in her stomach. Was this another test? Aisha decided to trust her instincts. She whispered her doubts to Samir, and together they decided to present a different answer to Jazeera.
We believe the answer to your riddle is the concept of change.
Aisha announced, her voice firm despite her nerves. Jazeera studied them, his expression unreadable. For a moment, the air crackled with tension.
Indeed.
Jazeera boomed, his voice echoing with approval. He snapped his fingers and the world dissolved around them. Aisha and Samir found themselves in a desolate, wind-swept desert, the air thick with the scent of magic and danger.
The final part of your quest begins now. Find the oasis of whispers, where truth flows freely, and your heart's desire shall be granted.
With that, he vanished, leaving Aisha and Samir alone in the vast and unforgiving desert. The desert stretched before them, a sea of shimmering sand dunes under the relentless sun. Days blurred into nights as they journeyed, guided by the stars and a tattered map they found tucked within the genie's box. Hunger gnawed at their stomachs and thirst parched their throats. They encountered treacherous sandstorms that threatened to swallow them whole, and mirages that shimmered with false promises of water and shade.
Through it all, Aisha's courage never wavered. She used her quick wit and agility to overcome each obstacle, while Samir's unwavering optimism kept their spirits high.
Just when their hope began to dwindle, they stumbled upon a hidden oasis. Palm trees swayed gently, their leaves rustling in the breeze. A crystal-clear spring gurgled invitingly at the oasis's heart.
Could this be the Oasis of Whispers? Or was it another one of Jazeera's tests?
As they neared the oasis, a figure emerged from the shade of a palm tree. It was the cloaked stranger they had seen in the marketplace. The figure hesitated, then pulled back their hood, revealing a kind face etched with worry.
You seek the oasis of truth?
The stranger asked, his voice raspy from thirst. Aisha and Samir, wary but desperate, nodded. The stranger introduced himself as Omar and explained he too was on a quest for the oasis. Omar offered to guide them, claiming to know a shortcut. Trusting their instincts, Aisha agreed. But as they followed Omar deeper into the oasis, a sense of unease crept over her. Omar's eyes darted around nervously, and his hand kept straying to the dagger concealed beneath his robes. Suddenly, Omar lunged, his dagger flashing in the sunlight.
The genie's power will be mine.
He snarled. Aisha pushed Samir out of the way, narrowly avoiding the blade. They were betrayed. Aisha grabbed a fallen palm branch and parried Omar's next attack. The oasis, once tranquil, became a whirlwind of motion as Aisha fought to defend herself and Samir. Omar, fueled by greed and desperation, was a formidable opponent. Samir, initially frozen with fear, found his courage. He grabbed a handful of sand and flung it into Omar's eyes, momentarily blinding him. Aisha seized the opportunity, using her agility to disarm Omar and send the dagger clattering to the ground. Omar, defeated and seething with rage, fled into the dense foliage of the oasis. Aisha and Samir watched him go, their hearts pounding in their chests. The encounter had shaken them, but it had also strengthened their bond. They had faced danger together and emerged stronger. With Omar's treachery exposed, a sense of peace settled over the oasis. The rustling of leaves seemed to whisper secrets, and the air shimmered with unseen energy. Aisha and Samir realized they had stumbled upon the true heart of the Oasis of Whispers. As they stood there, a single word materialized in the air before them. Forgiveness. It hung between them, shimmering like a mirage. At that moment, Aisha understood. This was the final test, not Jazeera's, but their own. They could use their final wish to seek revenge on Omar or to right the wrongs of the past. The choice was theirs. After all they had endured, it was a decision that would shape not only their destiny but also reflect the very core of their beings. Aisha and Samir stood in silence, the weight of their decision pressing down on them. They had faced numerous challenges, encountered betrayal, and stared death in the face. Yet, through it all, they had held on to their compassion and empathy.
Jazeera.
Aisha finally called out, her voice clear and strong. The genie appeared before them, his expression unreadable.
We've reached the oasis of truth and understand what we must do.
Samir nodded in agreement, his gaze steady.
We wish for Omar to find peace and forgiveness,
Aisha declared, her voice filled with conviction. A look of surprise flickered across Jazeera's face, followed by a slow smile. The oasis shimmered and swirled, and then everything went still. When the light faded, Aisha and Samir found themselves back in their familiar courtyard. The genie was gone, the ornately carved box vanished. All that remained was a single shimmering feather, a tangible reminder of their extraordinary adventure. Aisha and Samir had faced the unknown, conquered their fears, and emerged from their perilous quest, forever changed. They learned that true courage lay not in power or wishes, but in kindness, forgiveness, and staying true to oneself, even in the face of adversity. The echoes of their journey, like whispers in the sand, would forever remind them of the valuable lessons learned and the importance of choosing wisely, not just for themselves, but for others as well.